God blesses us, and he blesses us according to his plan and according to his promises, but we should not be alarmed by negative reactions when God blesses us. And if I really had time, something just jumped out to me about him prospering and continuing prospering until he became prosperous. How many of you know that there's a difference between making money and managing money? There are folk that make a lot of money, but because they make a lot of money and don't have any money because they don't know how to manage money. So you can prosper, and even continue to prosper, but not be prosperous. That's going to be another sermon. That's just something that jumped out. So you need to understand that there's a difference between making and managing. Glory be to God. But he was prosperous, and it says that the Philistines envied him. But we should not be alarmed by the negative reaction of the world to our prosperity, to our blessing, to the favor. We got to be mindful that the Lord blesses us for this very reason. He blesses us in the first place for this very reason. He blesses us in order to get the world's attention. And he wants to bless us to get their attention in order that we might show them how to give God glory. So you cannot and should not take the negative reaction of the Philistines negatively. He blesses you to be a spectacle. He blesses you for their envy. If you have the light and the favor of the Lord, and those that don't have it aren't envious, something is wrong. So you need to realize that God blesses you for the envy, for the attention of the world, in order that the world may look at you, but you ought not take the glory for yourself. But he blesses us for their attention in order that we might give glory to him, so that individuals might give God the glory and come and serve him as we do as well. So the blessing drives us out of places we've prospered because the folks can't handle our being blessed. But we ought not fret. We ought not be upset. It's not worth the fight, because the Lord is using them and the situation to draw us closer to our destiny. So if God is blessing you, and the people around you that don't yet know him are upset and envious, you need to realize that this is by design. You need to realize you are a spectacle for God. You are his tool. And they ought to get the envy and give the envy in order that they might come to know the God who has blessed you. We ought not fret. We ought not fight. But we ought to realize that God is using them and the situation to draw us closer to our destiny. And I come to speak to somebody real quick. Right now, God is recycling the evil in your life. I said, God is recycling the evil that you want to throw away and discard. But God says, put it in the recycle bin. Don't throw it away, the evil stuff, the stuff that's frustrating you and angering you. He says he wants to recycle it and transform your stumbling block into a stepping stone that's going to lift you, and that's the other thing you said, that's going to lift you to a new level. So you need not fear, you need not be upset, my friend, because the Lord is using this contention that the Philistines are giving you, the Philistines that surround you and watching you and they're envious of you. He's using their contention to move you into the places that he's prepared to support your industry and your prosperity. God says, I want you to be industrious. I want you to produce some stuff. And not only do I want you to be producers, but I want you to be productive and I want you to be prosperous. And God says that I'm going to use their contention. I'm going to use their frustration. I'm going to use their envy to push you into the place that I have prepared to support your growth, that's prepared to support your production. There are some places that you are in right now that cannot sustain what God wants to do in you. It's too small for you. So God says, I've got to allow the contention. I've got to allow the small-minded people. I've got to allow, listen to me, the chicken heads to get all up under you to remind you who you are, because you are not made to be hanging around chickens. God said, I have made you to be an eagle. So you have to understand that God is preparing a place that's going to support your industry and your prosperity. There are some places that we are trying to hold on to that are too small for us. Relationships too small for us. Associations too small for us. Jobs too small for us. And the truth is that God is going to use the wrangling. God is going to use the quarreling. And he's going to use this quarreling because this quarreling and this wrangling is actually ordained by him to push you into your wealthy place. There is a wrangling, there is a quarreling, there is a contention that is ordained by God, and it's ordained by God to push you into your wealthy place. God is allowing, so only the folk that are frustrated right now know what I'm talking about. They're trying to get what I'm saying right now. They can identify with this message because you're being wrangled, you've been wrestled, and you're being frustrated. Folk are just finding new stuff every time you succeed, every time you press in, every time you do something, every time you come up with something. You ain't what? They're gonna try to push you away from your success. But you need to realize that God is allowing that to happen because God does not want you to get too comfortable where you are, because where you are is not big enough for what God has called you to.